All right, let's just break this down in its most elemental and basic level. Tom Brady answered a question this year that if you are a football fan, you have been debating with your buddies for the last 20 years or so. Who was more responsible for the New England Patriot dynasty, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick? And the answer, I am telling you, is decided forever in my mind. It is Tom Brady. Because what he has done this year, if you are a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, you could not have hoped for anything better than this. 3 straight wins on the road against Washington, New Orleans, and Green Bay. And I know Brady was not extraordinary, and there are still some Tom Brady haters out there. But Brady has answered 3, to me, cardinal questions that have existed in the world of sports for a long time. The first one, okay? The first one was what I just said. Who's the most responsible for the New England Patriot dynasty? To me, Brady has answered that question. But for the past 6 or 7 years, we've been debating who's the greatest quarterback of all time. And it was really Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning for a long time. And I'll admit I was a Peyton Manning guy for a long time. It now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is Tom Brady as he goes to his 10th Super Bowl. And I'm going to run through several stats for you eventually. But Tom Brady, the creator of the greatest dynasty, also now the greatest quarterback of all time. And I believe, and maybe we'll unpack this more throughout the week, and certainly after the Super Bowl we'll be able to have a debate. But I believe that Tom Brady is now the greatest American pro sports team athlete of all time. Now, I think there are other guys you can put into that debate. For a long time, I would have said Michael Jordan. Because Jordan and what he did with the Bulls, 6 titles in 8 years, I think that Jordan has now been eclipsed, in all honesty, with the performance that he has, that Tom Brady has made. This would have been like if Jordan had gone to the Washington Wizards and suddenly taken them to the NBA Finals. We knew how good Jordan was with the Bulls, and I know he retired and took a couple of years off, but a lot of us, myself included, kind of pretend those Wizards years didn't really happen for Michael Jordan. When Brady went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this was a team that hadn't been to the playoffs in 12 years. This was a team without a culture of winning at all. This was a team coming off of a losing record with a former number 1 draft pick in Jameis Winston, who had thrown 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. There was absolutely no reason to believe that in any way the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to be able to be in their home stadium for the Super Bowl. Now, older people can say, hey, we can talk about Bill Russell. They're all different sorts of American pro sport team athletes that you could toss out. And again, I'm not talking about individual. I'm not talking about Serena Williams. I'm not talking about Roger Federer or Rafael Nadal or Michael Phelps or any of the Olympians. I'm talking about just an American pro sports team athlete. I don't think there is anybody else even in the stratosphere of where we are right now with what Tom Brady has been able to accomplish. And there are so many different crazy stats that I want to hit you with that are going to blow your mind right here about Brady and the Bucs. And by the way, we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers. We're going to talk about Patrick Mahomes. There's obviously a bunch of different storylines out there. Josh Allen as well, as we unpack everything in the AFC and in the NFC championship games. But here's a few stats for you that I think you're just going to hear and you're going to be like, that doesn't sound real. Brady is going to play in his 10th Super Bowl in 19 seasons as a full-time starter. Brady, this is from Jeff Howe on Twitter. Brady has been more likely to play in a Super Bowl 52.6% of his full seasons as a starter. He's been in the Super Bowl than Michael Jordan was to hit a shot. I mean, that is pretty extraordinary in many different respects to break that down. NFC Championship game wins. Aaron Rodgers won Drew Brees won. Tom Brady won. Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees are first ballot NFL Hall of Fame quarterbacks. They played their entire career so far in the NFC. In his first year in the NFC, Tom Brady has as many NFC championships as they do. I mean, that just doesn't even sound like it should be possible or should be real in any way. I mean, that is utter insanity. That is another crazy stat for you. Career postseason wins over NFC teams. Brett Favre has 12. Aaron Rodgers, 10. Joe Montana, 10. Tom Brady has 9. He's only played in the AFC. Obviously, he's gotten wins, 6 of them in the Super Bowl, and now 3 of them this year, such that he almost has as many postseason wins in the NFC as Aaron Rodgers does in his entire career and as Joe Montana does in his entire career. Here's a stat that I saw, and I was like, this cannot be real life. When Tom Brady won his first Super Bowl in 2002, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen were both in kindergarten. Kindergarten. That is how long ago that position was. That is just unbelievable to even think about that as being a possibility. Kindergarten. It's absolute insanity. Tom Brady's Super Bowl appearances match the combined total of Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, and Dan Marino. All of those guys combined, who we know are among the greatest quarterbacks who have ever played the game, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, and Dan Marino combined have the same number of appearances in the Super Bowl as Tom Brady. Nobody. Brady has now played in 10 Super Bowls, second best in the history of the NFL in the Super Bowl era is John Elway, who has 5. He doubled him. Tom Brady did. I mean, the amount of superlatives that we can bring to bear here for Tom Brady is truly off the charts at this point in time, such that it's difficult to even quantify or even compare how dominant he has been relative to anybody else out there in the larger stratosphere of the NFL. And to do it in this year, among all years, it was always going to be insanely difficult to go to a new place to work. But to manage to pull this off in a COVID year, when you don't have as much time in the offseason to work with your teammates, when there are all different sorts of rules that restrict your ability to have a normal existence, is a flat-out unbelievable accomplishment in so many different respects that it's hard to even contemplate how good and how incredible and how phenomenal Tom Brady has been. Such that, again, I think you break down that trio and you say Brady is not only the greatest quarterback in NFL history, he is also, as you run through it, the reason for the New England Patriot dynasty. More important by far than Bill Belichick, who, by the way, has a losing record as a head coach in the NFL now without Tom Brady. And also, I think that Tom Brady, with this 10th appearance in the Super Bowl, certainly if he wins it, has passed Michael Jordan as the greatest American pro sports team athlete of all time. And again, you contextualize inside of the sport itself that he plays, nobody is actually able to be there with as much time and as much energy and as much effort as he's brought to bear here. It truly is an absolutely extraordinary situation to put into that context. So as you break all this down, it is truly remarkable to think about what Tom Brady has accomplished. Now, on the other side of the Super Bowl, when you think about Patrick Mahomes, who, as I said, was in kindergarten when Tom Brady won his first Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes may be able to make a claim in some way to be the next Tom Brady, right? I don't think that's a crazy analogy. Mahomes has played in 3 straight AFC championship games. He's going to his 2nd straight Super Bowl. The Chiefs are running at an unbelievable clip. They are winning, whatever it is, 25 out of the last 26. Look up the number exactly. Maybe it's 26 out of 27. I mean, there's nobody that is really playing at the level that the Chiefs are. And maybe down the line we will think about Patrick Mahomes as being able to challenge Tom Brady. But it's going to take about 15 or 20 years of sustained excellence from Patrick Mahomes in order for that even to be a reality at all, any possibility whatsoever. That is an unbelievable stage of dominance to have to be there. I mean, we talk all the time about really good, let's say, NBA teams. Remember, we sat back and we talked about the Golden State Warriors going 73-9. They had hardly any stretches of time in basketball when they won as many games as we saw the Chiefs win in their last 27. Almost no sport out there has anybody won 26 out of 27 games. That's unheard of, especially in the NFL, what's going on right now. Nobody does it. The Chiefs are winning at a level that has virtually never occurred in the history of the NFL. And unlike, let's say, Major League Baseball or certainly the NBA or a place like that, where there are no, the difference between teams can be substantial, right? There's no opportunities in the NFL where you can just show up and win, right? I mean, when you actually break it down, there are a lot of NBA games where one team is 15 points better than the other. That doesn't happen hardly ever in the NFL. The line between success and failure is minuscule. And so as you just sit around and think about what these Kansas City Chiefs are accomplishing, we truly are seeing almost no one ever having done it before. 26-1 in their last 27. It's off the charts level success. And then you pair that with Brady going up against Patrick Mahomes, who may one day be his heir apparent. It is just incredible to even think about the way that is all shaking down. So in general, just an absolutely phenomenal performance so far that we saw from both those guys. I can't wait to see what's going to happen going forward with both of them. But that is not the only big storylines here. For sure, we got to dive into the decision-making that happened down the stretch in the NFC Championship game. The decision, which is just an utterly ridiculous one in my mind, to do what they did, to punt and to decide to decide to kick the field goal there is absolutely crazy. Dub, you led me astray there. You said it's 25-1, not 26-1.
Yeah, I got fat fingers, Clay, so forgive me on that one, but I mean.
Either way,
yeah.
25, they're going for 26-1 in the Super Bowl. 25-1, 26-1, 24-1, whatever it is. We've literally hardly ever seen that level of dominance with Patrick Mahomes as the starting quarterback. And I know the Chiefs lost their final game against the Chargers, but let's be honest, the reason why that happened was because Patrick Mahomes wasn't playing and the Chiefs were taking off the game. So that is just an unbelievable level of accomplishment.